Okay, so let me introduce you to the little adventure that we're doing today. This is a very low gear, not many people, deep nature, kind of light bushcrafting experience. Combination of traditional things and ultralight technology. So this is my entire equipment. This is basically me for 6 or 7 days if I want it. Just depends on food and what I'm willing to eat. So I've got a belt pack, my usual ditty bag, a kuksa, a hunting umbrella, which is actually strong enough to use as a alpine stock, and it makes quite a good shelter on its own. And it's like a trekking stick, and you can use it also to, as a tent pole, but it makes its own shelter. A bedroll. In the bedroll I have a Loden anorak, a thin Loden blanket, and a 3x3 meter, 2 pieces of Silnylon, together 3x3, so they're 3 by 1.5 each, of green Silnylon. And in here I could also put more equipment or food if I wanted to. Plenty of rope, a saw, and a sit-upon. And then on this here side I just have some food, a cooked pot, some coffee, some protein bars, tea, chai, energy bars, so stuff that, and some dried sausages, and a tiny little hobo in here. So it's my cook pack. So if I couldn't find anything to eat, I'd be fine for like 3 days, but I will eat nettles and all sorts of good stuff that we find. And yeah, clean canteen bottle. Always leaving at least one sip in case you really desperately need it, but fill it at every opportunity. Drink all the time. And then yeah, just relatively tough trousers. I like my little Vibram Five Finger shoes. Gloves, gotta have gloves, so here. And that's about it really. Just strong movement and being ready for any kind of weather, and just yeah, having a nice time. So we're in here now, we're going to enjoy the landscape, look for a nearby water source and find a nice place to sleep. Oh, and by the way, the Silnylon also works as a hammock. That's why I have it in 2 pieces. So this is a very nice flower for eating. It's almost juicy and quite substantial. So let's see. You want to just eat this like that. Nom nom nom. It's so good. Tasty. If you're hungry in this kind of terrain in the summer, you're doing something wrong. Look at all this stuff. Hundreds of flowers, lots and lots of nettles, thistles, wildflowers you can't eat. This one is tasty. The whole thing. Fuck. So, cheers. Oh, this one is sweet. Let's have some mint. Oh, here we go. A nice piece here. Look at that.
Mint tops.
Delicious. This is also a phenomenal eating plant. The common or garden thistle. And it's the stem that's yummy. You just need to scrape all the barbs off. But then it's actually quite a nice crunchy, carbohydrate-y, tasty little stick, a bit like asparagus. Eat it, it's yummy. And here we have our good friend Mr. Nettle. Now, most of us have grown up not really liking the nettle because he's stingy, but if you grasp that nettle firmly, it doesn't actually sting you. And they make excellent eating. They are full of amino acids, vitamins, and all sorts of yummy. So you want to cut them, basically take the top, and then you can do all sorts of things with the leaves. You can boil them like spinach, you can stir fry them or deep fry them, and it turns into kind of like a wakame type of crispy seaweed sensation. Or you can just eat them as salad, but you need to blanch them so that the stingies don't get you. And remember to get some resin for your fire. Yeah, do that and the tinder thing now, because as the day wears on, there is more and more likelihood of thunderstorms and rain, and everything will be wet. Like the 5 finger shoes, even on this kind of terrain. Much freedom, much feeling of friskiness. You will see later on how much better these are in the forest too. Very awesome. So if you're working hard, like uphill here, you need to be thinking about drinking about every 15 minutes. About 4 small gulps, which is about the maximum that your belly can absorb, or your body can absorb easily when you're working hard. So 4 gulps maximum, and every 15 minutes, good idea. And then eat about every hour, even if you're not hungry. Even in the summer. Not good. Never throw a rock stone on anybody. God damn it. Oh, here is another yummy thing. This is a daisy. Very tasty. Yummy. Mmm. Mmm. Sort of slightly peppery rucola-esque. Mmm, tasty. Looky here. What's that? That is an edible snail. Now in Germany, you can't eat these because it's illegal. They are exceedingly tasty escargot. And what you want to do with it is either cook it in the shell whole and then only eat the foot. You can just put the shell inside the in the ashes and let it cook, or you can take it out and then just boil it through twice, throw away the foamy water, and then you have a really nice tasty bit of meat that you can pop in your soup or do whatever else you want to do to it. So it's just depending on how much effort you want to make, really. Here also a nice bit of resin, which I'll collect for a fire. Leave this little guy be here, hide him from the sun, and then go up in the terrain and see what we can find, right? Where are we? I really like carrying the this big strong umbrella, just sort of poke through my waist belt here. The umbrella is well strong enough to use as a hiking stick. It's big enough to use as a little shelter. When it's on my pack like this, it doesn't disturb me at all. And if I'm going to go a bit in more difficult terrain, then I have a piece of extra paracord and I just sling it over my shoulder like a really short pair of skis. So you might think, yeah, why does she carry an umbrella? She's like ultralight. But think about it, right? If you have an umbrella in the summer, it means you can do with a lot less rain gear. It means you have part of your tarp shelter system already set up. It's actually a little shelter you can sit in underneath in a downpour, like in a thunderstorm, without having to do anything. It makes a perfect stick for holding your shelter up, and it's strong enough to use as a trekking pole or sort of alpine stick. You have to get a strong one. The umbrella I have is a hunting umbrella. It's actually very, very strong. But yeah, think about it. You can either take a big long one like this one, or in fact you can take one of the little tiny collapsible portable ones and just put it on your backpack or tie it to your belt pouch. So try it. You might find you like it. It's also really nice when it does rain not to have to be like locked into your sweaty rain gear. It's like, ugh. You know, and it's gonna be dry again in 3 minutes, and now you're all sweaty and it's horrible, and you can't see anything, and you feel like you're trapped inside this plastic bubble. Why don't you just wear what you're wearing and put up your umbrella? How about that? There's a thought. Also works quite well as a parasol now when the weather gets hot again, right? So here are my 5 finger shoes, KSOs, keep shit out, that's what it's for. I've committed to them for the whole 2-day trip. I have no other shoes with me. The terrain that we've walked up so far is mainly this kind of crunchy road where I thought it would be kind of uncomfortable, but in fact, no problem. They are excellently grippy on this kind of limestoney stuff. You can really get your feet in things. Really good in the mud because you can get your toes in and you can feel what's going on. Very nice in the vegetation. Again, you can just really feel everything that's happening, but your feet don't get injured. You do need to get used to them a little bit and go gently. You won't, at the beginning you won't make the same, let's say, fast, clumpy miles as you would with your big mountain boots, but as you get used to the way of walking, I think you'll find that you get even faster. Also, they're amphibious, so anything like river crossings, swamps, wet grass, puddles or anything like that really matters not at all, and they dry really quickly. So these are my summer shoes of choice. I think if I were doing a trip purely on scree and rocks, that I would not wear them. But this here sort of mixed terrain of sort of rocks and leafed off and rocky ground, and also forestry slash. Forestry slash is a real challenge in this terrain because it's very, very steep, and forestry slash is super, super slippery when it's wet, and it's often hidden. So this is a terrain phenomenon that your footwear needs to be able to cope with, and your movement skills do too. So we'll see how we go, whether by the end of the 2 days I still think this is a good idea, right? Also, of course, knowing as we do that there are plenty of acupressure points and reflex points on the foot, actually walking in this way is super, super, super good for your health. It's just awesome, very stimulating to feel all this gravel and sharp rocks under your feet, but they don't hurt and they're not bruising your feet, they're just massaging them. It's also quite interesting is that, we're in a forested area here, very nice and cool. I seem to find an awful lot of people in the summer just kind of like want to rush up through the tree line and just get out into this blazing sunshine all day. Why? I mean, okay, great for the views, but very hot. Heat stroke, lightning storms. I mean, maybe some of this lovely forested terrain is just as pretty and a lot more inhabitable when it gets really hot like this. So I usually think about that a little bit. I do like going up there and getting in the big view, but there is something to be said for a shady forest in the heat of the day. It must be considered. So much of the comfort and ease of being in these hills is about actually how you choose to move and your fine selection. So you see right over there is actually the gritty path or the forest trail that we're looking at, but it meanders back and forth and it's not really much fun. So we're on this more terrainy area here, and so you have choices just like with skiing, right? You could go this and like that. That would be quite a nice one. So kind of nice and easy, open terrain through here and then just track along that little ridge over this thing at the top here and come over there. Or you can follow this thing here. Yeah, past a little rock, straight up. So it's a pretty nice pathy way, and it's not too steep and there's nothing dodgy. Just a little bit more. And then you could go along here. Now this is where the footsteps go, but yeah, it's all got kind of slash in it. A little bit harder underfoot, a little bit maybe more slippy, but pretty wide and direct. So you have to kind of decide. And part of the fun of this is just constantly solving this terrain puzzle all the time. What's the smoothest, nicest, finest, most ease-giving, most efficient, most interesting way to get along? And I might add, you have to select what is the best way for you, because you might have a different configuration than someone else. You might enjoy terrain differently than someone else. So it's about exploring really also what terrain you do like and how to move over various terrains. So sometimes you even choose terrain that's a little bit what you wouldn't usually choose, just to see what it's like to move in that. Expand your horizons a bit, improve your skill set a bit, work on your strength, your flexibility, your dexterity. Sometimes you might not have the choice, right? And it's nice to have trained it beforehand. Proprioceptive training. Look it up. Proprioception. Have a look on Google what it means. It's good for you. Sometimes you even get a nice little trail for a while. That's lovely. Anyway, nicer than the big gnarly forest road. The forest road is good when you have no other choice, or you have very bad weather, or you really just need to get somewhere in a hurry. But it's not very fun. And it's kind of hard on the body. So we like to find some alternate ways up that show us a bit more of the diversity and give us a bit more texture. This texture is everything. Ah, the blessed relief. We have found potable water, and lots of it, in an accessible, lovely, clear stream of which we know the source, and above which are no beasties. Therefore, it is drinkable. Delight, delight, delight. Let's get some. Yeah. Here we go. God, yeah. Evian. Sorry. God. So good. Enjoy. Real water. Look how she's doing it. Against the current, you get all sorts of crap in your bottle that's floating along. If you put the bottle with the current, you don't pick up all that floating crap. Yeah, clever, huh? Learned that from Seppi, I think. He was the one who showed us that. Sepp Waldhandwerk. Danke. Für den geilen Tipp, ja? Immer gut. 4:30 in the afternoon now. And now that we have water, found the source of water, we can think about possible places to sleep. And then we have some things to consider. So, what's the weather going to look like? Well, possible thunderstorms and some rain, but warm still this afternoon. So we need to find a place that is suitable for if it is a thunderstorm. We have a mixed setup, so I've got ground sleeping gear, but it can be turned into a hammock if I have to, and Ali has got hammock gear, so our terrain choices are pretty open. We have some, but relatively limited water carrying capacities, so we can carry about, let's say 1.5 plus plastic bags. We can carry about like 3 liters of water without it being a pain. Which means theoretically we could be a long way from here, but you know, it's a hassle. You have to carry the water and put it in plastic bags and stuff like this. So probably we'll be within striking distance of this water source. And then it's just about finding somewhere awesome with a nice view, really. Sound like proper criteria to you?
Yes.
Safe, suitable for the weather conditions, near a source of potable water, and awesome nice views.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and appropriate to one's sleeping gear. So those would be some pretty reasonable criteria, I would say.
Yeah. Well, my gear also allows me to quite comfortably sleep on the ground. So.
Yeah, exactly. We have multiple use, and preferably not near too many uncomfortable living things like bugs or mountain lions. Now we're looking at terrain shapes. We don't need to have fully flat ground, but it is nice to have some kind of ground to work with. So for if you want to make a fire and stuff like this, it's quite nice to not be completely in a steep way. So that means probably the downhill from here is going to be out. It's really got some awesome views. I'm certain it will have great resources like wood, but it is kind of steep, although there is a little platform down there. You can consider also topics of visibility. Some of us like to be less visible than others. It just kind of depends on your mood about things like that. So in terms of visibility, that one would obviously not be good, but if you didn't mind, it could be pretty awesome because it's got the flats, it's right near the river. You can get down there if it's even if it's a little bit steep, but you can get down there. And it has lots of hammocking spots, plenty of dead wood, flat areas, and some rocks where you can safely make a fire, so that would be a pretty cool one. And down here, there's a little grassy meadow. Let's have a look at that thing before we discount the downhill altogether. This is a rocky, grassy meadow, very visible, but probably not bad. If you got caught out here in the winter, there would be probably some nice snow hills to be dug there, and for the rest it's kind of steep. So we will have a look around and see what we can find, and we will report on our findings due course. So this is how I like it. Less people, much less gear, and much more nature. No plan, just go out, and when it starts to get in the afternoon, think about water, find a cool spot, make an awesome setup, sleep tight. Oh, the shady north side, so nice. It's really hot on the other side. This side is just lovely. It's cool, it's warm, the air is warm. There's like masses of sun out there if you want it. Just look at this, just baking hillsides underneath great big limestone cliffs. So they're just getting caked. And you can go there, of course, but it's so nice to walk on the north side of the hills in the summer. So think about that when you're doing your trip planning. That maybe it would be quite nice if you're going to be up here in the heat to choose whether you want to be in the shade or in the sun and what time of day that might be. Because it can make a big difference to your comfort. So it can. Just look at this place. It's crazy. So good, this terrain. Just these steep canyons. All sorts of crazy and lovely open meadows. You can really choose your adventure. Whatever you want. Brilliant. But you have to commit to it. Because it's a bit of a walk to get into the bowl. And it's fun. But you gotta be serious about it. And pretty good and strong and resourceful. You know, you need to be able to take care of yourself if you're going to come over here on an overnighter, an ultralight overnighter, or a little adventure of some sort. Just be sure that you're really resourceful, because it can get bad in here sometimes. Really pretty awful. But today, it's nothing but friendly and lovely and awesome. So we're going to find ourselves somewhere awesome to sleep, and we're just going to be having a nice time. beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mountain. The Benedictenwand, ladies and gentlemen. Scene of many an adventure. Sometimes it takes as many as 8 hours just to get to the bottom of it from Jachenau, depending on the weather. It is steep. It has ice climbing, rock climbing, serious big wall atmosphere, some absolutely ridiculous skiing, and some absolutely accessible skiing too, even for beginners and snowshoers. See this terrain, as long as you are careful and respectful, you can stay alive and have an awesome time. But you will certainly have a big adventure, whatever it is you come to do here. It will be a big, big adventure for you. There we go. All the way down this valley into Lengries. It's all there for you. Just come strong and be willing to be very resourceful. So, here we have another little treasure. Yes, it's a cow trough. It's a constant feed cow trough. And constant feed means that the water is running out of a nearby spring, which means that you can drink it. Not from the trough, but from the inlet. And down there is the descent I made in the blizzard. And then we drop straight into the gulch here, into this canyon. Straight out the other side, basically straight up here, just a little bit further back, but really ridiculously steep. And then 12 kilometers of slogging through knee-deep crap into Lengries in a blizzard. That was awesome. That was probably the hardest day out I've had here. That was really amazing. I slept up here, like way up there, and then I skied down here. It's crazy. Crazy. Down into the gulch. Just madness. But awesome. This is the terrain I like to play in. Does it show? Absolutely awesome. Yeah, Allie's here with me. She can keep up in this terrain. Huh? Bet you guys didn't realize that, huh? She can keep up. Even when we're out doing this athletic stuff. She's got a light backpack and a cute smile. But you better be sure that you're fit if you think you're going to challenge her. Huh? Ciao, boys. So, we thought maybe we would film and share with you our deliberations about the space. So here we have a little rivulet of water and a trail going down. And it is actually a pretty nice looking little forest with pretty easy access and probably quite a lot of resources, and nice and flat. Still sunny, not too exposed to lightning, gives reasonable protection from the rain, if not as good as a deciduous forest, but it doesn't matter because we have tarps anyway. So it looks pretty delightful. What do you think?
I think it looks pretty friendly. Plus there's this these two dead trees right here that we can certainly
pilfer
for
yeah,
tinder.
Dead trees all over the place.
So
dead trees everywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome view.
And it looks like there's a fair amount of deadfall in there, which is not laying on the ground, would be reasonably dry and good for
It'll be
making
awesome
fire.
for a very good another 5 or 6 hours of lovely sunshine.
Yep.
Because once you stop moving, sunshine is what you want.
Yep.
So you have, look at the sun where it is. It's going to come round like here now. So that space is going to be nice and sunny. Very nice for chilling out.
Yep.
And pretty well you can get into there and get hidden. So I think we're going to be around here.
Yep.
Ah, this is just about perfect. Butterflies, the sound of the water. We just saw our neighbor driving down the road in his Unimog. His huge, great orange Unimog. Hi neighbor, how are you doing?
I have Unimog envy.
Oh man, yeah, I want a Unimog.
I want that Unimog.
There's nothing to it. That's all. Oh yeah, this is good.
Really nice the way the water runs over the rocks.
Oh yeah.
You can step across. Or down and across.
Or up here, along here.
Yep.
But it certainly will be a hindrance to the casual city slicker.
Yes.
That's for sure. For us, it's just delightful exercise. Putting your feet down. Oh, it's so good to put your feet down on these limestone through these shoes. It's just awesome. Just to get your feet on the rock here like this and walk around on it with these really soft shoes. It's epic. They're pretty grippy. Grippier, I would say they were grippier than my bare feet, just about. And they hold your feet pretty well, so they are just phenomenal for scooting around on this terrain. Awesome. Oh my. These are nice shoes for nice terrain. I'll get a little bit of a look down into it. Wow, I must go down there. There is no question, it has to happen. God, awesome. Oh yes. Oh yes. Little waterfalls, but with no exit to the side. So you have to do them. Yeah, look at it. Oh, it's just epic. So that's it. That's all there is. Bedroll with 2 Silnylon tarps, Loden blanket and woolen anorak. Satellite communication device. To the palm pad. Fiskar saw. Additional cordage. Normal belt pack. Cooksail. Utility. Andrew Jordan Caracal. First aid kit. Cook kit, including mini hobo, fire lighters, cold food rations, coffee, tea, protein drink, dry sausages and nuts, and a candle lantern. And a strong hunting umbrella. That's all. That's as long as I can stay out here indefinitely. And anything from 5 to plus 30, rain or shine. So, have a go at it. You can be really athletic. You can get in some awesome terrain, but you still have the bushcrafty feeling without having to schlep a whole bunch of gear around with you. Kind of like authentic, athletic, alpine bushcraft. I don't know. But anyway, get out there and try it. Yeah? Let some Silnylon into your life. Important thing now, as soon as we stopped moving and we located our little campsite, which is just awesome here, as soon as we stop moving, the first thing we're doing is eating. Just eating some cold stuff, but we need to eat before we start getting into the next tasks of setting the camp up. Look at this ridiculous view here. Wow. Hello, Benedictine band. You were awesome. So now we're just kind of eating and taking in the surroundings and thinking about the fine detail of the setup, and maybe thinking about getting some tea. There's plenty of nice tea making herbs all around here. We have Waldmeister, we have clover, we have wild alpine mint. I mean, the place is just littered with all these little saplings. So I think that won't be too difficult.
Raspberry leaves.
Raspberry leaves, little pine shoots. I don't think it'll be hard to get some nice tea. So we'll start thinking about that. And just the place is amazing.
And never forget the amazing alpine strawberries.
And the alpine strawberries. Wow, yeah. Yummy. So, some fine detail here. The little zits pad is just slide outable, as is the satellite communications device and the saw. And on my belt pouch, the food pouch is easily removable. So I'm going to go exploring now in a minute, and all I have to do to lighten my load a bit to make it appropriate for that activity is just to unclip the straps on the food pouch and leave it here with the bedroll. So very very, very smooth transitions between activities, but still always having your essentials on your belt. That's important. It's just a matter of astonishment. The willingness to be astonished. And letting go and just allowing yourself to be astonished by stuff. That's the key. But then if you come to places like this, how can you fail to become astonished by them? I mean, it's just so amazing. So you just increase, or rather get back to your normal and natural propensity for astonishment, and your life gets much better. Really simple. Allowing yourself to be astonished. That's the key.
Some sort of an old railroad track that's been repurposed into a makeshift bridge.
Hang on a minute, let me just look at the view uphill. Oh yes, here we have it. Gorgeous. Okay, it's nice here. Here's the confluence. And here it starts. The waterfall section, and then it just goes down and down. Edible flowers everywhere. Ah, what a place. Cheers. Cheers to absent friends. Love you. Good water. Yeah. Bushcraft Paradise, Jachenau, Advanced Terrain, Level 2. When you feel strong enough and resourceful enough, ask us, and maybe we'll tell you about it. Yeah, it's a thought-provoking kind of terrain, and you're obviously a lot further away from any kind of help. There is no cell phone signaling here at all, and even here it's maybe tricky for the satellite communications, so you have to be really on it. You know, it's an hour up, probably about an hour and a half to this point, and we're ultra light, but we're in very steep terrain. And so you just kind of have to be thoughtful and careful, and just you know, realize that you are actually in at least side country now, if not back country. But that's all part of the greatness of it. You know, there's so much texture here. There's lots and lots of challenges and interesting things to figure out. And just moving around in this terrain is great. So that's the game plan, really, pretty much. Okay, here now comes the evening wind. The evening wind always goes downhill as the air is cooling. You can see it all around. The cooling evening wind. Yeah, it's amazing, really nice feeling, but it does mean that you have to start paying attention to what's going on and make sure that you have a good place to sleep. So that's what we're going to go and do now. Ah, this terrain is so good. It's just a pleasure to just stand on it in these light shoes. Just a pleasure. Wonderful, wonderful terrain. Look at it. Awesome. Love it. Oh, it's so good. Just unbelievable. Just awesome! Exquisite! It's a texture bomb. There's just so much texture here. All of this rock, steep green here, and all this texture in the limestone and in the water and in the greenery. Just boom, so lush, so lush. You can see traces of the water being as high as this. You can see that it comes up that high. Can you imagine the absolute violence of this if it's that full? Just looking at, you know, just squeezes into this slot here and then it just drops down. You can get down to it around the back here, so you don't need to ab off of it. But it kind of gets steep here, right? And pretty serious. So I will probably come back here with a rope. But man, what a location! Oh, just awesome. Oh, I got another plan for you. Here. This is fun. We're having a little race with a thunderstorm.
Yes, we are.
Just to get set up and ready for it, because it's definitely coming. Ooh, the breeze. And the rumbles. So, bomb-proof tarp time. Let's have a look at it. This is a single piece of Silnylon, 3 meters long by 1.5 meters wide. Because a storm is coming, I wish to have all parts of my shelter attached to tree roots. But there was no tree root near here, so it has a stake, but more importantly, it has a line to the tree. The stake is only there to keep the rope down. Spare rope, the other tie out here. I like to use elastic rope or slightly dynamic rope so that the junctions are flexible. There are no grommets in this tarp. All of the knots are made with captured twigs inside of unchanged Silnylon. Here I have my hunt umbrella. It provides some pretty good camo. And it also provides a movable and securable wind and weather shield. In case the wind changes direction, I simply move this from here over there and tie it down, just like I have done on this. Everything here is attached to tree roots, and we are in around a tree that will not hurt me if it starts to get windy. So in here we have the securing system for the umbrella. Note that it goes all the way into the crown of the umbrella, and here is a taut line between tree root and tree root on a prusik, one piece of 3mm Rebschnur on a prusik so I can move it around. Inside I have my other piece of Silnylon, 3 meters by 1.5. I have a Loden anorak that you've seen before, a Loden blanket, and most importantly my sit-upon, which I will put under my hip, 2 layers, which I can tell you makes sleeping on this ground an awful lot better. All sorts of foodstuffs in here, and start thinking about making a fire. But make your shelter in this summer, make your shelter first. You don't need a fire in the summer, but you do need a shelter. Nice heavy soft bit of wood here on the long end to weigh it down and help the rain stay off of it. And we are in good shape. And that whole thing took about 11 minutes maybe. And here it comes, just in time. So let's look at all of it, starting with my tiny Uko candle lantern, which takes tea lights, my hunter umbrella, which we talked about before, one piece of Silnylon 3 meters by 1.5, and another one under my butt, 3 meters by 1.5, Loden blanket, 2.5 meters by 1.5, and anorak back here you've seen before, the rough stuff anorak. Plenty of food. Lots of chai, hot drinks with plenty of calories. I have a calorie bomb and a big meal replacement protein bar here from Zeitenbacher. I have some fire lighters because I have with me a tiny hobo. Here it is. Here is the tiny, tiny hobo. It is not the titanium hobo because it is just too fiddly for me when my hands are really cold and I need a hot drink right away. I would rather just carry a slight bit more weight, and it is heavier. But to be able to set it up with one hand and in a pretty incapacitated sort of situation, I really like to be able to get something hot on now. So that's why I choose this one for this kind of expedition, little pot. Protein drink mix here. This is basically a full meal replacement in liquid form for when you really can't get anything down. Plenty of dried sausages, electric Cineplaki bags, house keys, spare ropes, several means of combustion, candle, Victorinox, whistle, bug goop. This is the only bug goop there is. Wilmas Nordic Summer. So, modes of communication, satellite communication, spare compass, flashlight, hank of paracord, completely extra to everything I used, and the belt. My utility pack and belt first aid kit, clean canteen bottle 0700, and a nice proper saw. And that's all, folks. That's all you need. Oh yeah, 5 finger shoes. And some nice nature to play in. So this is how I use the bug dope. It's just get your finger in it, and just I put one band around my ankles, both of them, for that sort of thing. One around my wrists, and I smear some of it around my temples and my face and in the back of my neck. But basically the bugs stay away from you, and it smells really nice anyhow. Love the stuff. Wilmas Nordic Summer. One pot will last you forever. It's a great lubricant for your bow drill. It's got lots of oils in it so you can actually burn it. And it smells awesome. Pretty good for a chapped lips if you have to, but a bit stingy. So, when you do not have a lot of food, and you're making food with hot water, boil the water just as water and add the stuff in afterwards. Because if you knock it over, here you've just knocked over water. If all your stuff is already in it, you have lost your nutrition. And you probably needed it. So, just by the water. Okay, here comes hot drink. Chai tea latte with some olive oil and some recovery drink, protein powder, full spectrum, vitamins, minerals, and everything else in it. Powder stuff for in the hot water. It'll taste like chai and it will be delicious, but it will fortify us for the whole night. Anytime there is fire, the gloves are nearby. Any kind of fire. So here's another fine detail. You'll have seen that before the water level in the cup was much lower. So what I do when things are thin is that I boil the half cup of water first, so that I know that whatever else happens, I've at least got a half cup of boiling water soon. And then when it gets to the point where that is actually boiling and everything is good, nothing's been knocked over, and nothing else weird has happened, then I add the last bit of water to top it up. It's also that sometimes you're not quite sure whether the fuel is going to last, and you really need the water to be boiling to make your tea or coffee or whatever, and just having lukewarm water will really be nasty. So it's better to have less of a really good hot drink than more of a kind of nasty lukewarm one. So I always do this half cup first and then fill, depending on how good the fuel is, because you just sometimes don't know. I mean, this fuel is really awesome. Could have been that the fuel was crappy. Who knows? And you got to have that hot water. So I've added a little bit of oil to that protein powder because it actually likes to be mixed with milk instead of just water. And although there is some milk in the chai, some dried milk, I like to just give it a little bit of an extra shot. And then you take your kuksa, the which knot you should be able to open with one hand because you may need to be stabilizing your cup on steep ground, and have a nice hot drink. Yeah. Awesome. Normally I would have a pot cozy and a lid, but I've left bringing those today because this is a titanium pot, and it's much better with a pot cozy and a lid. But that's all you need, really is. So dried meat. I have a whole package of these Landjägers here, and I also have just an epic piece of sausage. Thanks, buddy. Good tasting sausage, that. Yep. And then I have, usually per day, if I'm going to be out, I have one of these, which is just an energy bomb. It's like nuts and sugar and stuff like this. And this is a proper meal bar. Nothing like as palatable as this. This is just really tasty. It tastes like marzipan. But this has got magnesium, plenty of minerals, plenty of vitamins. Not that tasty, but really good to sustain your nutrition, especially if you have it together with the drink stuff. So hot drink that you can easily and quickly do, but also food that you can just take without cooking, especially in the summer. So the reason that I have a 700 milliliter clean canteen is exactly because it works with the dosing on this pot here. This is a 500 milliliter pot. That is a lot of nice hot liquid to be drinking. If you're on your own, that's 6 kuksas. Or if you're sharing, it's 3, obviously. But that pot, or that clean canteen, will fill that pot fully, plus just a few more sips for in the night or whatever. It's always good to just have a few sips of water left in your bottle in case you wake up in the night with a dry itch or whatever. So that is how that works. And so with very little stuff, you can have a deal of comfort. So one little thing to just talk about also is the light utensil belt. You'll have seen earlier today that I had that bedroll on, and that went over my shoulder on this light belt, which also has some more paracord on it. So if you don't want to take your whole sort of heavy utensil belt, if you just need to go and get some water or whatever, you don't need everything, then you just pop your Swiss Army knife in your pocket and drop your water bottle and your, whatever else you have on the little male pouch, of course, because that's just where the food was, which you can just dump out since you're at camp now. And now you have a little container, actually quite a big container for foraging or doing whatever, and a light utensil belt that is load bearing if it needs to be. Plus you have the paracord here, which is plenty strong enough for any situation that you might encounter. So this is a good idea. Now this is my kind of bushcraft. This is the bushcraft I like. We're just getting some water here. Allie's got her little hoodie on now for the evening. And I've got mine on too. It's part of the sleep system. It means that we can have much lighter sleeping bags and really nice, warm, cozy evenings. So you're just like, wow, you're going to take that much warmth on a summer hike? Well, yeah, I'm staying overnight. Why not wear the warmth? Right? Have something that's really warm and cozy, and then you can have a lighter sleeping bag, and you have much more versatility. And I tell you what, it is nice to be warm and cozy in the evening before you go to bed. It is nice, and there's no need to take a heavy sleeping bag. Right? Well, that sky just went from gray to purple, which means it's going to start raining really hard shortly. So it looks like our meditation upon the Benedictine Vant is going to be cut a little bit short. Making for the camp. And of course, all I have to do to sit out in this awesome weather is to go and get my big umbrella which is just loosely part of my shelter over there, and I can sit out in this and watch it anytime I like. I've got my little sit-upon here. I'm warm, so it means I can keep my butt dry, and I can sit underneath my huge umbrella and watch the show. I am not confined to my tarp in any way, even if it's heavy rain. It's really, really good method. Not too bad here. Not too good if you're not set up well though. So, we are nicely set up in here. I can't really see it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know what's going on. Howling a gale outside and we're nice and warm in here. So that's all you need to know really. Awesome alpine salamander here. Absolutely lovely, lovely smells. This early morning forest here. Brilliant. Everything's fresh. So I just have to say something more about these shoes. I've been on them now for almost, well, been better part of 2 days. On mostly this flinty, gravelly stuff, and my feet are fine. They're doing great. In fact, I stepped just now on a stone and I just kind of crushed it underfoot, and it was just a wonderful feeling. It's very invigorating, because essentially it's reflexology, you know, for hours. But just very satisfied with these things in the mountains. Take a couple of easy sessions with them first, and then just go for it. Really nice. Another good use of the bedroll is as a handy, waterproof, immediately available thing to sit on, which even has a little bit of height, so it gets you off the ground. The bedroll. It is awesome.